Getting it real with RealChunWai on the hottest topics, frank, engaging and candid. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. She is a fresh face in Penang, which is regarded as a political stronghold of the Pakatan Harapan. Can Miss Yee Fung, a likely Barisan National candidate from the MCA, make a difference in this GE15? Let's hear it from Miss Yee Fung. Hello, good evening, Malaysia and followers from around the world. Our guest tonight is a young, youthful person, and she's regarded as a young political talent from the Barisan National. Her name is Miss Yee Fung. She's a Penangite like me, Penang Lang, okay? She is the MCA coordinator for the Bayan Baru Parliamentary Constituency. She's one of the young talents that we will hear in the coming days and coming weeks as the nation goes into GE15. She's 33 years old. I know we don't reveal the age of women, but 33, she's very young, okay? And she has a degree in actuary mathematics and finance from the University of Malaya. She went on to obtain her master's degree from the same university. While at she was the vice president of the Students' Representative Council for the year 2010 and 2011. She was also the president of the Chinese Language Society, and that's a prestigious post in University of Malaya. She went on to work for Dr. Chu Mei Fen, the then Deputy Women Development, Family and Community Minister as a confidential secretary from 2014 to 2017. She's now an official spokesman for the MCA and holds various positions in the party, including the Central Committee. So please welcome Miss Yee Fung.
Hi, Chunwai. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hello.
Yes. So now let's dive straight to the conversation.
Sure.
Now, both of us are from Penang, okay? So in Penang, we always ask these questions. I do not know why. People also ask me why. Why do Penang people ask these questions? Then they can have an analysis, can have an idea of yourself by just two questions. First, they ask you, hey, what school you come from? And then the second question is, hey, where do you stay? So I will ask you the same question. What school did you go to when you were in Penang?
Sure. I graduated secondary schools from SMGK Jistin, Bukit Mertajam.
Oh, Jistin. Wow, famous school,
no lah. You're from Chongling, right?
Ayo, I'm from St. Xavier's Institution.
St. Xavier's, sorry.
So that's why I'm a banana. And then, where do you stay?
My hometown is from Raja Uda in Butterworth.
Butterworth. Okay, Pak Hai Lang lah.
Pak Hai Lang tio.
So now my question always been like, okay, you could have studied in USM. Why did you went all the way to University of Malaya in KL?
Oh yeah, unfortunately, because my first choice of courses is actuarial science. So in public university, we have two uni offering actuarial science back then. So it's only UM and UKM. Among the two, I choose UM. Yeah.
I see. Why didn't you choose UKM? Our alumni of myself and Chong Lai, the previous party president of MCA. So I also wanted to go to USM, but there was no place for me in USM. Okay, so I had to go to UKM. Okay, so which was very interesting for me. Okay, now how was your growing up days in Penang? Tell me a bit about yourself, the family and you.
Okay, I'm from a very small family, so I'm the eldest from the family. So I have a younger sister and a younger brothers. So we are just like two years gap between us. So my sister is 2 years younger than me. My brother is another 2 years. So we stay in Raja Uda, as I mentioned. So my father actually they have some small businesses. Then my sister is currently an engineer, and my brothers is also doing some sort of like similar field as my father, where they are doing some electricity services kind of job lah. So we spend most of our time in in Butterworth back then. So
Okay.
yeah, that it was very, very, very peaceful and calm township back then, and
Yes.
nothing very surprising. And I don't have a big
Mm.
names families background. Yeah. So a real kampong Penang girl.
Not really kampung lah. Raja Uda is hardly kampung.
Yeah, compared to me.
Okay. Now, looking at your background, I mean, you were very active as a student leader in the University of Malaya. I mean, it's really not, it's not easy to get yourself elected as a student representative of the student council in University of Malaya or University Kebangsaan, because that to get elected into this position, you really need the votes of every races. And we all know that in public universities, actually the Malay votes are actually the predominantly Malay. But you also need the votes of the Indian, Chinese, Sabahans, and Sarawakians, which makes it very motivational. And that's the only way to get yourself elected into the Students' Council. Of course, the Chinese Language Society will be predominantly Chinese. But as a student leader in University of Malaya, contesting in a student election, what the lessons that you had learned to get votes from students of all races?
I think in university, actually, how it works is pretty similar to how we actually see currently the political arena, where back then we actually work in a coalition. So as what you mentioned just now, right? So we actually, I'm from Humani, so we are predominantly Chinese. Then we actually work with the other student organization where they are predominantly Malay. So this is how we actually work in a coalitions to gather votes from different races lah. So one of my learning experience back then in uni is by then, because back then I was from the so-called oppositions coalitions, right? So we actually go against all those like what our coup and what is government policy, etc. So my learning from there is, if you believe something that is right, then just go for it. There's no one going to judge you unless the history will judge you. So if you think that is right, then just go for it. So that's why I think later on why I chooses politics lah.
Now, your entry into party politics at the national level, why did you choose to join the MCA and not DAP? Most young people, they say, oh, they want to really change the world, fight the government, join DAP, and then join some other political party. But why did you choose MCA?
Yeah, I used to be one of them, where I used to think that I can be the first prime minister back then. So, yeah, I think the youngster, they always have big dreams that want to change the countries, and we can always go aggressively and shout whatever we want on the street. I used to be one of them. So I go rally, I go on street, I go protest. I even pontang my lecture and just to go protest for certain issues back then. But then I mean, I think after the times goes, right, so you have met a lot of peoples, and I go into society and start working, and we get to see what civility is. You started to think back what actually helps you to resolve the issues, but not just being dramas out there. I mean, it's very easy to be hero. You just shout what people want to hear and just go on medias and gain the limelight, gain people attention. But then back then, is the issue solved? So then I actually met one of our young leaders back then, like in MCA. Then he actually shared how MCA actually did and what is the principles where MCA upholds. And though today I still remember, this is what he actually told me back then. He said, we actually wanted to build a Malayan Malaya by our founding president Tun Tan Ching Long. So we actually wanted to have a Malaysia which is belongs to all races. So this is the part that actually I'm into it, and I think that this is aligned with what I believe. So that's the reason I joined MCA.
Okay, so you felt that this was a much more effective way to resolve issues.
Yes,
After going through this period of youthful idealism of demonstrating and protesting, you felt that this was a much better way. When you said that you wanted to join the MCA, did your younger friends they would have said, "Hey, why you choose the MCA?" Did they sort of like tell you that?
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. I always tell my friend, I mean, I just make jokes on myself, like back when I'm in university, as I mentioned just now, I was like part of the so-called opposition coalition. And back then, I mean, just like I joined university like 2008. So by the time it's like not so very famous about opposition or Pakatan Harapan yet. So people are still more or less, they are still okay with PM. So my friend always has said, why you going like opposition? Why you go on street? Why you do all this thing? Then like every day goes to the police station for no reason. Then they say like, you better don't lie, just be a good student and study. But then later when I graduated, so after 2013, right, these people who had asked me to go study, don't go rally, they themselves go to pursue. So
This is
I always go
the
against
political process of the country.
Then I was like, okay, fine. I always go against with the majority of my peers.
Against the flow, always different side.
Yeah, always different side. So they was like, you're always the difference from us. But okay, I think friends we're still friends. But then
Yeah, sure.
we just like try avoiding talking about politics when our gathering.
Yeah, but I think that the nation needs to understand, as the country's democracy matured, I think that people must understand that we can have different kind of belief, different kind of political position, but at the end of the day, we are Malaysians. And the reasons why we have a general election is because that people can choose what they want.
Yes.
So it's for the candidates and the parties to offer and show what they can do. So we need to go beyond the position of some people who like that, who call you names, running dogs lah, I think we need to go beyond name calling.
Yes.
And to come up with much more matured and much more educated kind of argument and rationale to persuade you whether you're voting this party or that party, but to show that what is it they can offer to your electorate. Now, so I come to this question I want to ask you now. You have been regarded as one of the as a candidate that will contest in Bayan Baru, and that the question we need to ask you is that if you were to go in there after nomination day, what is it that you are going to tell your voters as to why they should vote for you? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think I very agree with what Chuma you shared just now, right? I think the politics agenda in the countries, they have to have a major paradigm shift, because I think it has been based on emotional all this while. People vote on emotionally, and politicians actually play issue on emotions, and they just try to make you angry without giving solution, which I think we should move away from them. So I think the key message that when I was like appointed by the party presidents to Penang, a lot of people are saying that, hey, hello, Penang, you're not going to win. MCA has been losing for 3 terms consecutively in Penang without a seat. So they're just telling me that just don't waste your time. You better go back and be your actuaries and make your earning. You will get a good pay there. But then I think we should make some changes where I wanted to offer myself as an alternative solution. I think that the young faces and fresh faces, we should stand up, and we should action should lead. We show by leadership. So we show the people that how politics can really be, how we can like discussing issues, agenda, policies rationally, offer solution to the countries, and how we bring forward the whole nations without like just calling names, creating emotions, and just like accusing each and other, but without solving issue. So this is one of the key reason why I'm offering myself to this, and also I would like to bring the message to the voters and also especially the Penangites. And second issue is, as what I mentioned just now, Penang has been 3 terms led by DAPs, and there's a lot of DAP and PKR elected reps in the state governments and also in the parliaments in Penang. So I think Penang actually needs check and balances, because they have been performing there for 15 years, where I think it's time for us to just go in and check on how they have actually doing so far. I think it's always been Pakatan Harapan sayings that they said we need check and balance all the times. And I think it's time for us from MCA and Barisan Nationals, we pick up this and be the checking force to see how they actually performs. I just pick a very simple examples, right? Like in today news, we actually see that the Penang's Department of Environments, they actually reported that almost half of the active projects of the states, right, they actually fails to adhere to the EIA's guidelines. It was something that's very alarming. Can you imagine that this Penang's we are Penang like we know, right? Penang's have been undergoes a lot of developments all this while. And how can these developments, they didn't adhere to EIA? So this is how the state government's doing, which I think is time for the peoples to actually, we allow some catfish inside the government, and we check and balance on what they're actually doing.
So you want to be the voice of the opposition
Yes.
in Penang,
Yes.
and to be the platform for checks and balances on the Penang government, as well as the MPs who are from Pakatan Harapan, who are already there in government. Of course, that we also need to ask you that look, one of the grievances of many Chinese voters has always been that look, MCA dare not speak up, while the DP is always the one who dare to challenge, wall up here, wall up there. What is your response to that when people ask you that? Do you dare to speak up against the policies and issues?
Yeah, of course. I think you can have my words here, because I always believe that we should do the right things instead of doing the things right. Just that we always have different approaches to resolve an issues. It doesn't mean that you shouting outside there being a hero, meaning that you actually can solve the issue effectively. But I think that we have to back to the basics and see what is the correct ways or the effective way to get the issue done. Because I think we are on a multiracial lens. I think you're creating a lot of controversials and a lot of emotion. It doesn't help, because at this land we actually need some more understanding and consensus rather than a lot of provokings and also the controversials, which is what I believe the spirit of Barisan Nasional. Yeah, probably as what people always say, they say that, hey, come on lah, MC is always just a yes man to UMNO, right? But then well, why I choose Barisan Nasional? One of the key reason is in spirit of Barisan Nasional, in our constitutions, we actually stated it clearly, and we actually uphold the spirit of unanimous consensus between the party component. So meaning that we have to be a full agreement with all the component parties for any decision that pass through Barisan Nasional. While I don't disagree that there is an imbalance of powers between UMNOs and also the other component parties across the year, it's a cruel fact that we have to admit, because all the political states, political strength actually backed by the seat that you have won. And MCA has not been performing very well for the previous election, and thus we're actually facing some challenges. So I think another message I would like to share to the voters also, I think that if you believe that the unanimous consensus spirit is still something that this multiracial lens is needed, then I think we should give more mandates and political powers to MCA so that we can able to be strong voices and strong political strength powers in this coalition.
My next question is this. Another issue that's always brought up by the Chinese voter is that MCA does nothing. Nothing. So I will answer this, okay? MCA for the translation of non-Penangite, what has MCA done to deserve your vote? Penang or nationally?
Okay. I think MCA does a lot. A lot until I don't know where to start, right? It's everything. I think MCA participated. Just that one of the biggest issues and weaknesses I would say that MCA has is we never do a good publicity of ourselves, which especially on social medias and our appearance, etc. But then if I were to pick one of the major contribution I would like to name on MCA, probably I would choose education. I think MCA across the year we actually did quite holistic on education bits. Probably we just name something that is recently on news, right? On the KTAR, which was more related to Penang Nights, right? We actually have KTARs from national levels, and also we have branches in Penang, somewhere in Bukit Bendera. So this is the MCA established education institutes, which actually we offers affordables and also quality educations to all our youngsters. And there also we just name a few, like Pakatan's their MPs like Teresa Kok and like Chong A. They also graduated from KTAR, and we actually have a good transformation from it was used to be a college to a university college, and now it's become a TAR UMT, a University Management and Technologies, which will be officiated by our Agongs in the coming 9 November. So I think it's a good recognition to MCA contributions, especially on educations, on the higher tertiary educations. And also not to mention that on the VTAR, where we actually also work on those like vocational and technical skills for our youngsters, where they are not maybe keen to pursuing their tertiary educations on the normal education routes. And also TAR EC. TAR EC is for the childhood educations, and also not to mention like those normal Chinese primary schools, secondary school, which MCA has always fought for. So I think if from education end, it's actually from A to Z. I'll say that something start from your early childhood to your primary, secondary, until your tertiary, even vocational, I think MCA has been participate across the journeys to make sure that on these motherlands, I mean all our youngsters, that if you have a willingness to study, your education right is well protected.
Now, you are 33 years old,
Yes.
and obviously this time you will see a lot of young voters from 18 to 20 and until 30, 40, the new voters as well as the youth voters. In your kawasan that you would be putting a fight, Bayan Baru, how many new voters would there be this time?
I think if you do the for age 18 to 25 is around 12%, if I'm mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in your interaction with new voters and youth voters, what are the issues and what are the concerns that they talk about?
Yeah, probably I can't say like, because I didn't conduct any like proper research, but based on the feedbacks and interaction that
Sure.
I did with them across few months in Bayan Baru, I would summarize in two major issues that. The first thing first would be on economy aspect, where I think these youth, they're actually concerned about whether they will be able to have job opportunities upon their graduations. Even would they be able to have a quality jobs opportunities in nowadays. We're actually facing economic challenges. I think all of us know, right? Because after the post-pandemics, we are in the economic recoveries, and yet we're actually facing a very fluid and very challenging international economic scenarios. So I think the economic issue is one of the youth. Actually, they share their greatness. They're not sure whether they're able to get a job or secure
Okay.
a good pay for them to like earn a livings, for them to maintain their lifestyle. So these are the major issues. So the second issues is probably they always throw a question to me is on sustainabilities, because they always ask anything that you think that as a politician or as an MPs I can bring forwards to ensure that this country is actually sustainable. I think they started to realize that a lot of things that probably is not about what happens in front of your eyes today, but then whether this country will be sustainable. So I think those two key issue is what they frequently ask question when I'm meeting the youngster in Kawasan. Yeah.
Now, you are in Bayan Baru, the current incumbent from PKR. He has been there for a while, and
Not a
that
while.
and that you are a fresh face,
Yes.
very fresh. So when you go around to meet people, how do you introduce yourself, and that you're from Barisan National, and that look, I'm offering myself as a alternative, and how do they react to you?
Yeah, I think so far the responses is quite encouraging though. I mean, it's quite different from the last election now. And if like we undergo the last election, we actually know that if you are just on Barisan Nationals or MCA, if you walked into especially those Chinese majority or dominance areas, right, definitely it's a very tough time for the candidates.
Yes.
I think
Yep,
this time I think is pretty encouraging from my own experience the past few months. I think when I talk to them, they are pretty open-minded and they do actually interact with you. Although I don't disagree that some of them probably will just say that, oh no, I will still go for Pakatan. Yeah, but then there are quite amount of them. They actually say that, okay, we will consider, and yeah, we would like to have some fresh faces representing the countries. So I think the responses encourage lah. But then whether would these turns to votes, probably there are still, we have to wait until the polling days and we know the outcome lah.
Yeah, because it's still very early days.
Yes.
This is quite a long campaign of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The preliminary surveys conducted by the media, as you rightfully said, that the Pakatan Harapan in Penang especially, and especially among the Chinese voters, the Pakatan Harapan still have got a strong grip on the Chinese votes. But the survey also shows that it's quite different from GE14. GE14, if I remember, that the number of Chinese voters who voted for the opposition, the Pakatan Harapan, was around 80% to even 90%.
Yes.
But this time, the survey shows that it has got a drop to around 65%. So it's quite interesting because there's a drop, and that in the based on what happened in Malacca and the Johor state elections, the votes have actually saw two state assemblymen from MCA in Malacca and two from Johor And of course, you have the Tanjung PI parliamentary by-election. We saw the return of the MCA. So I think there's a mood, especially in, I think, in Sarawak, where I think the GPS is expected to deliver a very strong results, where they have around 31 seats. GPS, the Gabungan, the Party Sarawak, they're saying that they could actually win even 26 seats. So this time things are very unsure. People cannot say for certain that this will be the actual results. It's very new. There's a lot of variables, a lot of uncertainties, and that you have the three coalition of contesting, and of course the 1 million new voters, which you do not know really where it will go. So I think that makes the election even more exciting. Now, I'd like to ask you, okay, how is campaigning done now? Okay, how much of a social media do you do, and how much of traditional campaigning do you do?
Yeah, I think this is always a question because I've been receiving a lot of feedbacks from my friends or also my own comrades lah. They actually commenting. They say that hey, come on girls, you are so young, right? So you should do something like the youngster did, right? Just like go after shit studied, right? You can produce TikTok, do videos. Then why like just because they keep seeing me there on my Facebook, I like go market, go door to door. Then they say, hey, come on, the ROI is so low. And this is only the old man going to do that because they don't know how to do social media. Then I would say that, but because for me, right, not everyone is shit studying, you know. Shit study can do a video like few millions views, but probably I do a video is also like 10,000 views. So yeah, I think it's not comparable. So with these scenarios, then I have to gone through the obstacles lah. So I can't just rely on social media. So I actually spend quite a lot of my times to really do those traditional campaigning. So if you can see from my social media, actually, I'll go door to door. I'll go markets. I even go all those flats in my Kawasan, right? I think I've covered not all, but I think half of it I just go every door, then just introduce myself because I'm a fresh faces, so people don't know me. I don't carry big names, so even I mention my names out there, people don't know. So I just wanted them to like at least they see me once or two, three times before they go into and Kate and put their votes, right? So this is what I currently doing while I still work on social media, but then I actually also focuses on traditional campaigning lah.
Right.
Yeah, and we also cannot deny that actually we can't just use like any of the campaigning methods which have like one size fits all methods, right?
Correct.
So different, even social media itself, like not everyone on Facebook. Like I'm on Facebook generation, but my sister they are on Instagram generation. And nowadays, those 18-year-old kids, when I ask them, can you follow me on Instagram? They say, sorry, I don't have Instagram account. Then I say, what you have? You don't have TikTok account. Then I was like, oh my God, I am still doing Facebook. Wow. So I think that.
But actually, a survey that the survey that the media has done, Facebook is number one. TikTok and Instagram is actually very low of all the social media component. Yes, I've got the figures. Actually, it's very low. I'm also surprised because I'm not active on Facebook because I'm bored. Okay, but I like Instagram, so I'm very active on Instagram and Twitter. Then I found that I thought that Instagram was very big. Because as you said that sightseeing is very big on TikTok and Instagram. Then the survey number shows that no, actually TikTok and Instagram is very low, and Facebook is very high. Yeah, and of course, I think finally, as a media person, I will say that look, you cannot put everything in one basket.
Yeah, correct.
You have to use all the platforms, okay, from the new one to the old ones, and the reality is this: if you do everything on social media, people will still scold you and say, "I don't even see your face. I only see your face only on TikTok. How come you don't show up at the market? How come I don't see your face? I'm not gonna go for you." So you have that problem, and you know that in Penang, the Penang Lang is very demanding one. They will say, "Bo Kwaneri bin Taji Kwaneri bin the TikTok Tabu. What for? I want to see your face." They will scold you.
Yeah. You're right.
That's how Penang people will demand. So you have to meet the criteria, everything, and at the end of the day, it's a balance, right? Okay. When of course you mentioned just now about young people and their concerns. Okay. Now, as you go on your rounds, you go to the market, you meet the auntie and uncle. Okay. What is it that they want? from you if they put their vote for you? What is it that they want from you?
I think the most often responses that I've received is they say that make sure you really serve the communities and the peoples here lah. Because I think as we all knows, right, because in the past few elections, I think DAP and PKRs or Pakatan Harapan names, they actually they are emotionally voted in, because people actually voted based on party logo instead of the candidates. So that's why a lot of like good candidates actually they didn't make it for the last election. And then now the people actually started to feel the heat, because sometimes they can't even see their MP faces, like what you said, right? Or that they have issues, they don't know who to look for in their own constituency. So often they have facing this issue. So when I just meet them, then I say that yeah, I'm just offering myself. Then the next sentence they will come out and say, make sure you really be at here and serve this kawasan. So I think this is what responses that I received so far.
Yeah, is that they expect they respect their representative, whether at parliament or state level, to be always around. And we all know that actually that that is actually a standard thing. So as they say in Penang Hokkien, oh, so already been cabut lang.
Yeah.
So they already expect you to be around. Okay. Now perhaps that before we wrap this up, can you give your final words to Penangites and Malaysians who are watching this program tonight? What's your message to them?
Yeah, sure. I think for the coming general elections is a very crucial election, because I think we all know that the country actually in a very tough time now. We are facing a political instability for the past 5 years because of this. A lot of political games of our Pakatans, Harapans, MPs, where then we actually on a very challenging economics scenario now, where we actually need a leadership lines that we're actually able to promise you a stable government, and also we give you a matured and experienced policies. So just based on our track records, and you choose the leadership line that you think you're able to bring our country forward for the next 5 years. It is very crucial at this juncture, because if we make a wrong choices now today, we might suffer for another next 5 years. So I would like to urge the peoples, think wisely, think carefully, think back what you actually need and the things that are crucially for you at these hours, then make your choices, because it actually affected where are we going to stand in the next coming 5 years.
Thank you. Well said. Thank you for taking time off from your busy schedule to spend time to talk to me. I'll be doing a series of videos on young faces who are contesting this election from different parties. So we will have different views and different perspective. But we all think that we should give the young talents a chance. The country has got enough of politicians who has been there forever, who has been there. They are 90 years old, they're 80 years old, they're 70-year-olds, and they still want to be YB and continue to be YB, which is quite impossible. Let's give the young people a chance, and we hope to have a good campaign and a civil and general election. And Yee Fung, I hope to see you in Penang for Char Kway Teow.
Sure.
I'll see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night, and thank you to everybody. Good night.